All right, guys, I'm just going to go through a couple examples on worksheet day 10. So go ahead and find that. I'm going to do just a few of them, and then in class you're going to finish it and get it checked. So I'm going to start with number 1. Just to reiterate, there's a couple things I guess you need to keep in mind. If it looks like this or like this, that means a dotted line. And if it has this or this, that means solid line. So just make sure that you've got that written down somewhere, just to remind you. And then I'll talk about shading when we get to it. So notice how all of these problems, they don't have an equal sign, they have an inequality symbol. That means that you have to do shading. If it's just an equal sign, it's a normal line and you don't have to shade. But you know this -7, that means I'm starting on the y-axis. You always start on the y-axis at -7 for this one. So I'm going to put my first dot right down there at -7. And then this as a fraction means I'm going up 3, right 4, up 3, right 4, up 3, right 4. So I'm going to count that. Let's see, up 3, right 4. I'm going to go up 3 again, right 4. And this is a dotted line because it's an inequality symbol without the equal bar. If it has the equal, it's a solid. If it doesn't have the equal, it's a dotted line. So I'm going to dot it. And, you know, since I'm the one grading your quizzes, you guys, make it obvious that you're dotting your line and that it's not solid. And now let's talk about the shading. This arrow is pointing to the right. To the right in math means positive numbers. That's where the numbers get bigger. And so in this case, you're going to be shading up. So shade above the line. And that's how we're going to do that one, okay? Let me look at number 3. Number 3, I don't really know where to start because the y is not by itself. So I'm going to first bring this 5x over to this side by adding it to both sides. And that means I just have positive 5y. Keep the inequality symbol where it is. And these are not like terms, so I have to leave it as positive 5x and -15. So the positive 5x just stays and the -15 just stays. They're not like terms, so you can't combine them. And I still need to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by 5. And so that means y, keep the inequality symbol the same. The 5 over 5, that reduces to 1 over 1, or you can just write, I'll leave it as 1 over 1x because that will help me with my graphing. And then -15 over 5 makes -3. So this is the inequality that I'm going to be graphing, and you know that this means start on -3, always on the y-axis. So I'm going to start on -3 right here. And the reason why I left my 5 over 5 as 1 over 1 is because that means go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. You could also go down 1, left 1. And again, this is going to be a dotted line because it does not have the equal bar with it that would make it a solid line. So since it looks like this, it's going to be dotted. So again, make it a little bit easy for me, please, to make sure I know that this is a dotted line. Now let's talk about shading. This arrow is pointing to the left. To the left in math means negative. So negative means down. We're going to be shading down this way. That's underneath the line. That's what the arrow pointing to the left means. It means less than. This arrow pointing to the right means greater than, so we're shading up. This arrow means less than, so we're shading down. Okay, let's look at number 5. This one, again, I need to get the y by itself, so I need to move the 12x over. I'll start by subtracting it. It is a positive 12x, so in order to move it to the other side, I need to subtract it away. So keep the positive 4y the way that it is. Keep the inequality symbol the way that it is. This is a whole number. This is an x. You cannot combine them. So I'm going to write -12x and positive 8. Just keep the -12x the way that it is, and this is a positive 8, which is why I wrote +8. Now I need to get rid of this 4 because I want y by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by 4. So I get y less than. -12 over 4 makes -3, and 8 over 4 makes 2. This is the inequality that I'm going to graph. This tells me to start on 2 on the y-axis, so starting on positive 2 for this one, which is right here. And the -3. Remember, you can make any number into a fraction by putting it over 1. So that actually means down 3, right 1. Our slope is going to be negative in this case. So go down 3, right 1, down 3, right 1. You could also go up 3, left 1. And again, I'm just choosing all the dotted lines for this, I guess. I'm going to make this a dotted line because it does not have the equal bar with it. And again, in math, when it's pointing to the left, that means underneath or less than or smaller. And so when I'm shading down, I'm going this way. This way is down. Let me flip. I'll leave a few more for you guys to work on. I want to do a couple of these Hoy and Vux problems. How did I know this was a Hoy and a Vux problem? Is because the equation looks kind of weird. There's only an x, right? Like that's kind of weird. There's supposed to be a y and an x. When there's only an x, that means that we are in Vux. So we are doing a vertical line at -7. And so what you need to do is, these are a little bit different. You need to find the x-axis, which is this one. And you need to put a dot on -7. So a dot on -7 on the x-axis. I know it's weird because we usually start on the y-axis, but this one is an x and it is a vertical line. And there's no y in the problem anywhere. That means we're focusing on the x-axis. So I put my dot on -7 on the x-axis, and Vux tells me that it is a vertical line through that dot. And again, this is a solid line. It's not a dotted one because you can see that the inequality symbol has an equal bar underneath it. So it's going to be a solid line. So I'm going to draw it like this as best as I can. And the arrow is pointing to the left. That means smaller or less than, and the negative numbers go this direction. So I'm going to shade this way. Okay, let's look at another Hoy and Vux problem. This is Hoy and Vux. In this case, there's only a y. There's supposed to be a y and an x, right? So when there's only one of the variables, you do Hoy and Vux. This is a horizontal line at 6, and I need to use the y-axis to start my line. So here's the y-axis. I'm finding 6, which is right here. And it's telling me, Hoy tells me that there's a horizontal line through 6. So it's going to look like this, the horizon. And again, this is a solid line because of that equal bar. So I'm going to put a solid line like this. And it's telling me greater than. And the bigger numbers go this direction. The smaller numbers go this direction. So that's why I'm shading up, because it's telling me greater. To the right means bigger. Okay, number 12, I think is the last one I want to take a look at. Just because we have y and we have an inequality, we have a slope, but we don't have a number to start on. Do you remember what to do if there's no number to start on? You can put a +0 there if you want. Don't put a +1, but it's okay to put a +0. That just means that your first dot is on 0. And I know that's kind of weird, but that's an okay place to start also. And our slope is -2/5. That means I'm going down 2 and right 5. You could also go up 2 and left 5. And I picked another dotted line because there's no equal bar with that. So make it look like a beautiful dotted line. And this is telling me left, less than. And when I shade lower or underneath or less than this line, I'm shading down. And that is how you do those problems, you guys. So that's just 6 of them to get started on with you. Go ahead and keep working on the rest that I skipped on this worksheet. And I'll be walking around checking your answers. Love you guys.